thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. It came as a real surprise, honestly. I didn't know that this is happening. And I'm so glad to be here with Hashang, Saima, Padma, everybody. It's like being with the Empress and the Queens, you know. It feels like being on the tarot deck for some reason. So, um, yes, I'll start with a special poem. This has not been published yet, and I don't think it's going to be published. Um, it's titled The Audience Will Not Clap, and it's about my kind of woman, my kind of woman who is wild and poetic and unbridled and uninhibited. So when I say my poetry, it's not exactly about my poetry. My poetry is kind of it becomes a woman for me. So I'll go to the poem now. The audience will not clap. My poetry has unbrushed teeth and wakes up and goes around in pajamas. My poetry has the stink of salt and the skanky swag of a sweaty hag. My poetry has shit under her nails mixed with lavender from the last trip in her head. Her breasts are full coffee stains, crushed serpent flowers, and vandalized promises. My poetry farts. My poetry splits. My poetry gapes at sunlight like a satisfied swine. My poetry is loud and undoes amends like loose clothes from her waist. She has no dissent, no memory of stories, no patience for none. Her fingers and hooves run across the forest of her own making. My poetry has a goddess that bleeds and the bones of those that do not. She has dried semen on her chin. Her breasts feed urchins in her toneless dreams. My poetry is a dyke hoed out of the roads and sweats moonlight, parting herself for her own crossing. My poetry breaks beds, rubs her breast rough against your hesitant arses. My poetry strips, comes on full heels to slide down the pole and leave you stoned. My poetry is the rage absent in her name, evility, wildery. My poetry goes for a ride and up hidden ladders, and when she descends, she'll descend to rob your voices like a ship on wheels, her pride in full mast. She descends as black boar, wild beast, untreated purpose bearing down on your bones. My poetry roars. Here I feel a little guilty because what I'm going to, recite is not my primary or direct experience. It's something that I witness. And as a woman, when I roam the roads, I love walking in the night. And sometimes I have felt all these things that are there in the poem. And it's not exactly my experience that is there. It's something that came out of anger, out of all the atrocities that are committed against our Dalit brothers and sisters and the Cure community and everything. So this is me and everybody else whom I love and I want to stand with. Anthem of the Godless. I am independence to your shitholes and untouchable needs. I am in mourning, my tatters carry the remains of a pelleted wind. I'm halved and quartered outside your water and villages. I'm unwhole and unholy. I eat your thick-skinned mothers and leave their remains in the howling grounds. I'm burning, but only its light can be seen from the mountain where you live. I am dying in parts and living in parts where you cannot ever. But yes, I deeply appreciate this freedom that you give me. This freedom to walk on roads along your horizontals and dreamy verticals. These ones that have locked gates on their sides, ending where tankers breastfeed dried up roots of dying rivers. I am independence, the one that you cannot hope to live. I'll have to explain a bit about the third poem. It's still tricky. It's a poem that hasn't, yet opened up to me, so it's kind of remaining wild and out of my reach slightly. The poem talks about, this thought came to me like one day. Every time, when we talk about numbers, it's either used to list things against, for, list our vital stats, she's a 34, whatever, and goes down. Or she's a perfect 10. So one day this thought struck me. I mean, what if I claim these numbers with depictions of our bodies, women's bodies? Each number becomes a certain stance, a certain way of being, a certain, posture of a woman. So I hope you can, resonate with this. Learning to count with her. 1. 1 is her standing alone. 2 is her bent before her truth, her head a deep, deep cave. 3 is the soul sculpting her whole from this world. 4 is she owning the power of her dance. 5 is her healing the wounds of this earth. 6 is I or you held in her womb. 7 is she ancient as a tree. 8 is her center still. 9 is she being a cloud with a root. 10 is her walking beyond. So this is probably the last poem I read. It's called Hotel JNU, and it was written for a gentleman who went hunting for condoms in the backyards of JNU and counted it actually. So I was wondering what's wrong, so I kind of decided to call the poem Hotel JNU. Hotel JNU. You're a land that refuses to be a nation, but in your head is a country where all slogans are always heard. You're a song that finds its own rhyme. Awaaz do, my lips whisper. Hum ek hai, your tongue draws me in. We organize eat-ins at each other's bodies. I try to educate your hips into a possible rhythm while you agitate my skin into quick bondage. Together, we organize chaos. Together, we ride the gravity wave, broadcasting ourselves through the windows, shooting off into lands where inkylabic spurts are never taxed for sedition.